What's up, Pokemon fans? Welcome back to another video. Today I wanted to take a look at some of the new Pokemon introduced to us in the 7th generation of the Pokemon franchise. Specifically the ones that I found a bit disappointing. Generation 7 introduced over 80 new Pokemon, and while many of these are amazing, there are a few that felt mediocre to me. Now, in judging these Pokemon, there are a couple different things I took into consideration. Design, stats, move pool, shiny colors, and competitive use. Which honestly does kind of tie in with stats and move pool. I also feel the need to say that shiny color is entirely opinion based. Everyone has a different idea of what looks good, and as far as competitive use, I'm trying my best, but while I'm not brand new to battling in Generation 7, I'm certainly not well versed in it. This list is also not going to be in any special order. It was very difficult for me to pick 10 Pokemon from this generation, let alone put them in any special order. Also want to add that I'm only going to be covering Final Evolved Pokemon or Pokemon that have no evolution whatsoever. There will be no UBs or Legendaries on this list. But without any further ado, let's hop into 10 Pokemon I found disappointing in the 7th generation of Pokemon. Now, design-wise, I really like Toucannon. It's based off a toucan, and it looks like a toucan. I really can't find anything wrong with its design. I mean, sure, it looks permanently angry, but I quite like the design of it. Stat-wise, Toucannon isn't that bad either, with a base stat total of 485. Decent HP, amazing attack, but it's so slow. It has Skill Link and access to Bullet Seed and Rock Blast for some good coverage, but it's gonna struggle to outspeed a good majority of Pokemon. It also gets a fair amount of coverage moves, although a fair amount of them are special moves. And although potentially doable, I can't help but think that running either a mixed attacking or a special attacking Toucannon would be a waste. I personally don't see much use of Toucannon in battle, and when I do, it usually doesn't last long. With its strongest move being Beak Blast taking an entire turn to charge and it being slow as it is, I usually see this mon taken down pretty quickly with minimal damage being done. Taking a look at Toucannon's shiny form though, it's amazing. I seriously have no problem with it. It's gorgeous. This generation's fully evolved rodent. Design-wise, I'm not a fan. It basically looks like a Lanoon that's standing up with an angry face. And stat-wise, he's got some amazing attack for a Pokemon you can get early game, but it's extremely slow, and its defenses really aren't the great either. He's not gonna survive much. Competitively, he's just not worth bringing. With an extremely shallow move pool and stats that won't measure up, he's not gonna last long in battle. Secondly, his move pool really sucks. Normal type Pokemon usually get some amazing coverage, and Gumshoos really doesn't. And it's shiny. Well, it's pink. That's it. It's a pink shiny. Another one. I think his fur maybe gets a little bit different. Maybe it's just kind of there. It's not special. It's actually quite boring. Fair spoiler on this one. I can't say I can't say the crab's name. But what is this design exactly? It's got a little boy's haircut and a face that's permanently in pain? Shocked? Angry. I'm not sure what's going on here, but I'm not a fan of it. And with a base stats of 478, it's not the worst until you look at how they're distributed. With 6 weaknesses and only 3 resist and a dismal special defense and speed, it's basically aligned itself to be cannon fodder. Move pool wise, it does get some coverage as a special attacker. And with a base special attack stat of 62, you're basically never going to touch any of these coverage moves. Coupled with its typing, move pool, and defenses, it's really not seen much in competitive. Shiny wise, it really doesn't improve anything. It's a slightly lighter purple and red. While its previous evolution had a bright, striking red, Krabby looks really washed out and boring. Now, design-wise, I love Mudsdale. It was going to be a struggle as it was to make another horse Pokemon after Rapidash and Keldeo, and Pokemon did a fantastic job at designing Mudsdale. And stat-wise, it's not the worst. It's got base 500 with some very bad speed. Seriously bad speed. Using Mudsdale in a playthrough of the game is amazing. Stamina is a seriously overpowered ability in a normal playthrough, and its speed really doesn't affect it much because of its good defenses. But looking at it in competitive, well, let's look at its move pool. It's pretty awful. It gets rock, ground, steel, and fighting attacking moves. That's it. There is no coverage. You can make 20 different sets with Mudsdale, and it's still going to be extremely easy to predict. With stamina and iron defense, it would have the ability to tank, but it has no reliable recovery. And with only 4 potential type attacking moves, it's not the greatest. Its shiny form is it's ugly. It's mustard yellow, salmon pink, and navy blue, and it's ugly. I feel like so much more could have been done with it. You can expect to see this guy in the Shiny Fixes Generation 7. Design-wise, I have no problem with Salazzle at all. It's the literal embodiment of a reverse Haremon. She's a queen, she's a boss. I loved Salazzle from the second I saw her. And stat-wise, she boasts some amazing speed and special attack, but she's a literal glass cannon. Even with an impressive 8 type resistances, she's so defensively weak that pretty much anything can two-shot her. She's also got the same problem as Krabby. She gets some amazing coverage, but they're all physical. Competitively, she has the potential to be a great revenge killer. Very little is going to outspeed her, but she has no staying power. If you want her in for more than a turn, you need to run U-turn or a Focus Sash, because otherwise she's gonna pop off a Z-move and die every time. Because of her less than stellar special move pool, she's also pretty easy to predict. Corrosion is a great ability, but I never see anyone wasting a precious turn with her to Toxic a Steel type. Her shiny is meh. While I enjoyed the white body on Salandit, I would have rathered Salazzle had a white belly and stay black. Something about the all-white body doesn't sit well with me as the normal non-shiny form. Looking at its design, I'm not overly the biggest fan of Bewear. Whereas Stuffle was one of my favorite Generation 7 Pokemon, because of how cute it is, Bewear is probably one of my least favorite. It's just very boxy and kind of creepy looking. Stat-wise, it has some amazing attacking power, good HP, and decent physical defense. But like so many other Pokemon from this generation, it's painstakingly slow. I also think that Fluffy is a terrible ability. Why would you give a normal type Pokemon a weakness to fire for no reason? I think they probably just should have given Bewear Fur Coat, which, although doesn't do the exact same thing, would have mimicked it enough to make sense. Move pool wise, Bewear gets a good amount of coverage that it can realistically access and make use of, including tutor moves. It even gets some potential recovery with Pain Split. There are better normal types with similar stats and better things to grab. He's not a bad Pokemon, he's just very mediocre, and there are better options to use than him. Shiny wise, no problem with him. I didn't mind the bright yellow on Stuffle, and Bewear follows suit with that. It's cute, it's simple, and it's a really striking color. Komala is incredibly cute. I mean, yes, it's a koala in Hawaii, but that's an aside. I like its design. It's incredibly cute, and not every Pokemon needs to be super badass. Stat-wise, it's surprisingly specially bulky with decent attack, but overall, it's still pretty basic. It falls into the same area as Bewear, where at least in stats, it's incredibly basic, and there's better options out there. And that's really not helped by Komala's lackluster move pool. Perhaps older generations of Pokemon have spoiled me in how versatile normal-type Pokemon could be, but Komala learns so little type coverage. Its move pool looks like it was designed to be incredibly bulky, with tons of setup moves and tons of recovery moves, but it doesn't have the staying power to really make use of any of them. It's pretty sad when competitively, It's being used more as a bulky spinner because of its lack of coverage. Its shiny form is just so dang lazy. I even covered this thing in my very first Fixing Shiny Pokemon video. Its log changes color. That's it, that's the shiny. However, Comatose is an amazing ability, and I will give Komala some brownie points for that. Overall, I have no problem with the design of Wishiwashi's two forms. The normal looking one is supposed to be a scared little baby, and the schooling form is very intimidating looking. Stat-wise, with 175 base in the normal form, it's probably the worst Pokemon you would ever bring to battle. Even your starter Pokemon Litten has base 320. It's pretty pathetic. But then in contrast, the schooling form has a beastly 620 base stats with amazing defenses and amazing attacking power. Its speed actually goes down though, and its HP is still pretty dismal. Looking at its move pool, considering Wishiwashi could be run either physical, special, or mixed with ease, the move pool's pretty sad. While it does get access to Scald, Earthquake, Ice Beam, and can run all of them with good power behind it, its overall pool is pretty sad to look at. Little in the way of coverage, making it another really easy to predict mon. Also worth mentioning for competitive use is that schooling is HP based. With how low schooling Wishiwashi's HP is, it's not going to take long for it to get it back in the range where it reverts back to its normal, terrible form. It's also incredibly slow, and it's never going to attack first without Trick Room up. It makes it very easy to outspeed and whittle down before it can really do any damage. I mean, even Mudsdale outspeeds this thing. When I first saw Wishiwashi, I had honestly assumed the schooling form was either an evolution, or similar to a Mega Evolution, or maybe you could summon it forth at will, or maybe it had a set time limit like with Regigigas. It's kind of a letdown ability. Shiny-wise, the normal form is just lazy. It's yellow tinged with yellow eyes. It's not really special. The schooling form had the potential to be amazing, and sort of make up for the lackluster shiny form, similar to Mega Gengar. Instead, it's just as boring and basic as the base Wishiwashi shiny. Oricorio is in general a bit of a disappointment for me, and while I will touch on all of the different styles here, I am specifically calling out the Pau style. Design-wise, I really can't fault one without faulting all four. These birds are based on different styles of dance, and that's already a pretty hard sell. I will say that of the four, I think the Pau is the least pleasing to look at. Yes, you can tell it's based on hula dancing, but compared to the other three, it's pretty standard looking. Stat-wise, all four styles boast the exact same stats at 476, but not one of these stats goes over 100. The closest is special attack at 98. Now, looking at its move pool and competitive use, if you're gonna give different styles different typings, why do they not get access to a move of the new typing? Rotom changes forms, and its new forms get at least one move of that type. Blizzard, Leaf Storm, etc. Oricorio changes types without any real benefit. Its move pool is extremely bland. It's a special attacker with limited special moves. The majority of the attacking moves it learns via Tutor and TM are physical, and it just learns a ton of status moves. Perhaps it could have limited use in doubles, but really there are better options out there. With no bonus for changing types on this Pokemon, Pau suffers the worst. It gains 5 weaknesses, 3 resistances, and only 1 immunity. It really can't support a team, can't hold its own, it's just sort of useless. It was a gimmick Pokemon that has no use other than it's a gimmick. Shiny-wise, all 4 forms reverse colors, and while Bali and Sensu look amazing with the reverse colors for a shiny, Pom-Pom and Pau look really disappointing. Now design-wise, Lurantis is amazing. When it was first announced, I literally screamed I was so excited by this Pokemon. I love how Lurantis looks, which is why it's so disappointing, because it looks amazing, but it just falls so flat everywhere else. Stat-wise, 480 is pretty low for what I had originally assumed it would be. It's slow as sin and incredibly basic. They gave it decent special attack, but considering its special move pool is so flat, it really didn't make sense to me. It's a mixed attacker when it doesn't need to be. Move pool wise, Lurantis learns a ton of physical moves, but it's another low coverage type mon. Grass, bug, normal, and a couple decent fighting and dark type moves, but certainly not the best of those types. Its special move pool is basically non-existent. Despite the amazing design, it's just a letdown competitively. With its stat pool, moveset, and typing, Lurantis just struggles. It's sad when it's been designated down to a defogger by a good portion of the community. Shiny-wise, it's very green. In fact, when I brought up its shiny form while making this video, it was called the aggressive cabbage green shiny. It's not the worst example of a green shiny I've ever seen, it's just very flat and boring to look at. And that's it, 10 Pokemon from Generation 7 that I was the most disappointed in. I want to give a special shout out to my amazing Discord community for helping me out with this video. And what did you guys think? Were there any Pokemon on this list that you were surprised to see? Did you really agree or disagree with any of my choices, or do you think there was a Pokemon that I missed? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more top 10s and other Pokemon content from me, you can always subscribe to the channel and leave a like on this video. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you over on the next video.